All right, so today I want to share with you some test results so you can see the power of this MVX Plus test. This is really interesting. We've got an initial test result from the 29th of May, and then we've got follow-up test results after a viral illness. And these follow-up test results are 2 weeks later. So let's just go through what this MVX Plus test is. What you're going to have here is you're going to have 3 indices, and you're going to have 6 factors, clinical factors that are measured. So when we look at this MVX Plus test, you see the metabolic vulnerability index. There's an inflammation vulnerability index. Then the third is this metabolic malnutrition index. So let's go through these. The metabolic vulnerability index, the score on the 29th of May was 32. This is acceptable. Low 30s, 20s is ideal. I think the lowest score so far has been 19. So, the goal would be to bring this 32 down into the 20 range. And the inflammation vulnerability index, now that's made up of 2 clinical factors that are measured here. One is glyc-A. So we see on the 29th of May, glyc-A was 280, nice score. Anything under 300, acceptable. Lower is going to be better. The small HDL particle, we want that to be right around 20. The small HDL particle is a reflection of certain toxins that are in the challenging the biochemistry or challenging the physiology. The glyc-A is a reflection of inflammation and infection in the organism. So then the third is the metabolic malnutrition index. So we see here on the 29th of May, this was 61. And then now let's do a compare and contrast. So 29th of May, acceptable score of 32. And then we see it jump. It more than doubles to 69. So that is significant. The inflammation index, this was at 12. Now it's up to 71. Why is this so high? It's so high because, for one, the glyc-A is almost 600. So there's a significant amount of inflammation, and we know that there was a viral infection that had occurred between these tests being taken. The other interesting thing is we see here the small HDL particle number. It was almost 20, it was 19.3. Now it's basically cut in half. So there's a significant amount of toxin, more than likely in the form of viral particles that are affecting the body and affecting the brain, that's just circulating. The person is viremic. So then this is also very interesting if we go down to the metabolic malnutrition index. What we see here, the score hasn't really changed very much, but when we look at the citrate on the 29th of May was actually, that was the one fairly abnormal test. This was elevated, meaning that the mitochondria are not functioning the way that they normally should. But the silver lining here is that the citrate actually improved, the level improved. But when we look at the valine, leucine, and isoleucine for the malnutrition index, this is a measure of specific amino acids. Protein is one of the main macronutrients that's most important for humans. And what we see here is the valine increases from 183 to 375. The leucine from 101 to 235. the isoleucine from 61 to 150. Now, ideally, we want these to be within, this isn't actually within range necessarily, optimal range on the 29th of May. But for certain, 2 weeks later, these have just skyrocketed. They're elevated. And this is a fasting lab. So this means that there is very poor absorption. The enterocytes of the small intestine, these are the cells that absorb our nutrients, they have been damaged. They're not functioning properly. And even with a fasting lab and the person hasn't eaten for 12 hours, there's still all of these unabsorbed amino acids floating around. There's a lot of damage that's been done in the small intestines, in the intestines. This means that the liver is being affected, the other organs are being affected because of these elevated circulating amino acids. So this test is incredible. I know it was designed thinking more so in terms of chronic and long-term changes, but just within 2 weeks, look at this change that has occurred. So we're going to follow this. I will share follow-up results. Ideally, we'll have a test done every 2 weeks so we can see the corrections that occur, and we can see that the biochemistry and the physiology returns to normal. So look in the comment and descriptions. In the description, you will see a link so that you can order this test and we can go over your test results one-on-one. So you can learn about what's happening with the root causes. This gets to the root of what's happening with your body and with your brain. It's one thing to have a diagnosis, and depending on what specialist you see, you might have multiple diagnoses. But really what we need to address is the root cause. What are the insults that are happening to your brain and your body? What are the causes? Those need to be addressed. And obviously we need to manage your symptoms, but we have to deal with the root cause issues. All right, thanks.